This is the Moira project. The Greek word Moira literally means a part or portion, and by extension, one's portion in life or destiny. Its plural word Moira is the personification of destiny in Greek mythology. They control the metaphorical threads of life or every mortal or immortal from birth to death. This project gives to participants to determine the narrative through interaction slowly reveals the destiny of the Moira characters. The participants' movement of the representative characters triggers portion of the narrative and the sound. Each animation in the boundaries, or windows, shows the Moira group's specific stories, but they are not limited by the space, they are connected with the entire scene. The lines that the Moira characters leave behind them are their life threads or traces, and this is controlled by participants' interaction. Its animation windows represent past, wishes, negative relationship, positive relationship, and future of the characters. The flowing around bigger Moira characters describe the characteristic of memory or dreams. It is about fifth-dimensional world, about memory and imagination world, like mind time is non-linear. The audio components are based on Arnold Schoenberg's 12-tone composition method, and the scores were composed by composer Winsor Biney. Each of the four characters are represented by three tones, three aspects of their destiny. The music is like the Moira character's lifespan and our destiny. It cannot come back until the cycle completes. Creation, preservation, destruction.
We use fidgets for the interaction on the table. We put RFID tags in the bottom of the characters and we had them read on 5 different RFIDs under the table. We did this to have the data read in, and then I would interpret which characters in which area, and then they would be read into scenes. And those scenes would display on the screen. Pretty sweet, eh? But there's a few problems with fidgets, so I would recommend in the future, if you're using fidgets, make sure that they are all working before the final week. Problems we had was that fidgets RFIDs work through antenna, and with antenna you have 5 of them in close range, they all interfere. So this can cause some massive hiccups where sometimes you will think they're all working because 5 will read at the same time, and then other times they won't. To fix this, I had to go through each rendering pass and turn on one RFID reader at a time to render, or to actually be used to search for RFID tags to interpret into the scene. This worked fairly well, but there are still some other problems, like if you have fidgets within a certain range, some readers will be able to read within 6 inches, some will be able to read within 6 millimeters, and that's as good as you're going to get, unfortunately. So make sure that you are definitely testing this stuff thoroughly. We had some of the RFIDs worked. We thought they were all working, and then when it came to the final thing, if the cables get a bit loose, anything, these have difficult, really big problems. Or just try not using free ones. We used free ones, and that could have been the problem. So, yeah. My idea of the project. The big thing for me, the project, was being this interactive kind of play piece where you can make up your own story and have this way to create this narrative in a completely non-linear and untypical way. Where you have these 5 areas on this kind of playboard on this table, and you get to move characters around and have them show up on the screen, and you can base how you want to interpret the characters and how you want to feel about them onto where you put them. And that was the main thing for me, is that each of the different areas will show different types of relationships between characters. It's like when you have action figures and you're a kid, and you play these stupid games, or I guess girls play Barbie dolls, guys play action figures, and you have them fight, and you go, I'm gonna kick your ass, I'm gonna kick your ass, and the girls are like, I love you, Ken, I love you too, Barbie. So it's like that, except our stories hopefully are a bit deeper. They're a bit more open to interpretation, and they're a bit more interesting to look at. But yeah, that's kind of the cool thing about this, is that it brings that childlike flavor to everything. And the best part about this is I saw the child watching this the most and who was playing with these things the most and really, really seemed to love it. So having this project be really cool for children was so big for me. For computer graphics in this, to get all the rendering done, I used a few different parts. I used XNA first off because it gave me access to manage DirectX, which I had experience with, which is fairly easy to use. Managed code tends to be easier to use since it's just a bit more stable. I don't know, I find it just easier to code in. So I used XNA. They also have a mesh loader for .x files, FBX files. They only partially come with animations, so we used a thing called the XNA Animation Component Library, which I have documented somewhere. And after hacking this and tweaking it a little bit to work with XNA Game Studio 2.0, which is what I was using, I managed to get this to work fairly well. There's some problems with it. For example, you can't read a file in for multiple different objects, which can be a bit troublesome. And also it creates threads when it draws, so if you eliminate a draw call, it can also sometimes still draw, whether it has an access path to even make it there in your code, which was a pretty weird one and a hard one to fix. But yeah, I just fixed it so it would have to know about the objects ahead of it, so that even if it was multi-threaded there, that it had to, you know, make sure it came from the proper chain before it drew. So